Welcome back, friends. After an interesting discussion on extension, and if you remember, I ended at the note of logic associated with extension, and I suggested that it is natural also and it is strategic in orientation as well. Now, let me take you to a very interesting concept, which is again very natural, because once you are associated with a brand as a customer, you would experience the brand and you would have loyalty towards the brand. But let us see that to experience the brand, should you be actually experiencing it physically always, and to be loyal to the brand, should you be a very regular user of the brand always? Is it important and necessary? Think about it, and then by the end we will reach to a stage wherein we would realize that loyalty is a trait, is a character. It gets developed in due course of time, and it's a there is a mutuality associated with loyalty. It is associated with commitment. It is associated with faith many a times, and then it's a wonderful kind of a thing. Let's see what comes up. So, brand experience is related to three large elements. One is product experience, then shopping and service experience, and then consumption experience. And then let us see what these three elements say. So, product experience occurs when consumers interact with products. For example, when consumers search for products and examine and evaluate them. So, it is associated with need and usage, and we have talked about this. Now, shopping and service experience occurs when a consumer interacts with a store's physical environment, its personnel, and its policies and practices. So, you go there, you have an experience actually. Many a times you might not be purchasing it at all, but again then you would be having an experience in terms of brand experience. Basically, you go to car showrooms many a times, and you always don't buy cars, that is for sure. You go to book stalls and book showrooms, and then book shops. You go there, you flip off the pages, you keep reading those and then you come back. It's not necessary that you buy it always. That is precisely what I am trying to say. And similar kind of an element you would experience in terms of loyalty. It is very interesting. And then you see, we speak this word loyalty many times in our lives, because we crave for this, we like this, we want this. Brands also want that, and brands gain that. Let us see how. So, but before that, we talk about consumption experience. So, it occurs when consumers consume and use products. Consumption experiences are multidimensional and include hedonic dimensions such as feelings, fantasies, and fun, and kind of emotions, and so on. So, you get associated with the product, with the brand while using it, kind of. You feel happy while drinking a soft drink. You feel happy when you have your favorite stuffed toy in front of you. You feel reassured actually with the presence. You feel happy when you have your favorite timepiece in front of you, the clock actually. You like it basically, and you feel comfortable when you come out of the house wearing your favorite watch as well. So and then you can't just do away without your eyeglasses. It is one of the most important part of your life basically. You have to have those with you. Sometimes when we break the glasses of our eyeglasses, although technology has enabled so many things in terms of unbreakable eyeglasses, but many a times, so remember that time, you just can't do away with that. So, now let us take an example first, and then I will be deciphering many elements which I am referring to right now. Now, you see, let us take the case of Netflix. Netflix, as you know, has gained a huge brand power. It has also become the part of lives of several viewers, and a commendable kind of an effort. So this N is now recognizable by almost everyone, and this is beautifully written Netflix at large. So, and the company says that at Netflix they want to entertain the world. They say we want to entertain the world, and how is that for an ambition? So Netflix has made substantial rise in creating a brand experience with its customers, where they went from watching Netflix to relaxing, chilling with Netflix, basically entertaining themselves, having experience. And that is what I was talking about when I initiated the discussion on experience. Basically, Netflix asked their customer base, what one thing would you like to know more about before signing up for Netflix? I told you when I was referring to brand extension that brand managers, they have been longitudinally going for an understanding about their brand strength through brand research, while getting deeply associated with the hearts of customers, and that is they try to do. So, what one thing would you like to know more about before signing up for Netflix? The most popular answer was knowing all of the movies and TV shows available. Very simple answer, but a huge task, because telling your customers about every movie and TV show is not a joke actually. It's and a screen has limitation. So there has to be a surfing element also. Then you have to imagine that, okay, you want to fulfill the desire of your customer, but would it be comfortable for the customer to actually when the desire gets fulfilled, because you give them so much to serve. So would they be doing that ultimately? They have expressed the desire, but then it is you who have to rationalize as far as fulfillment of that desire goes. But here we are talking of branding, and let us see what happens. Now, in response, Netflix experimented with showing customers available content on the home page, but their experiment revealed something interesting. Showing customers too much of the content was distracting, and that is precisely the point. You are fulfilling the desire, but there has to be a rational context to it. So, many of them browsed but never signed up. So, you see, you responded to whatever they wanted, but still they are not signing up. So, there is another learning which Netflix got, and they redesigned their experiment. Designers still used the reciprocity principle which they were following, but this time they used an image that hinted at an extensive catalog. So, they did cataloging, they did indexing, and they did prompting actually. They started doing prompting, wherein their AI, it tracks the habits of their viewers basically, and on the basis of the history they come up with the solutions, and it is very interesting, and you are Netflix users, you would understand this. So, but they did not let customers browse the whole thing, giving people a sneak peek but not the total view, made customers more likely to sign up for a free streaming trial. Now, that is interesting, and many a times when you surf through Netflix, basically you would realize that you just take the cursor somewhere, or you just pull it down, and a clipping comes in and it shows what is in store. Netflix keeps their customers engaged by providing personalized content, by knowing the previously played history of the customer. Their experience forces the customers to watch trailers that autoplay when one dwells on the title, and this is what I was trying to mention. This feature is a source of frustration for many customers, but the benefits of the idleness aversion have clearly outweighed the costs for Netflix. That means somehow it is working actually when customer surfs from one to other and then reaches to a point wherein he sticks to it. And there are several other features as far as Netflix goes, we all know that. Netflix knows how to create a buzz. Refer to how Netflix India created buzz around Kota Factories Season 2 launch by leveraging Jeetu Bhaiya's fan base. It was a successful series, and definitely it connects to so many people and so many aspirants around our country, who aspire to join good institutions for their higher education, and it's a a real life connect kind of thing basically, as I have been told. So, I have yet to watch the series. So, now then there is an element of how to conceptualize brand experience, and that is where I am taking you towards the connect between our initial discussion and the example, and now the aspects associated to that. So, brand experience can be conceptualized as subjective internal consumer responses, that is sensations, feelings and cognitions, and behavioral responses evoked by brand related stimuli. Those clippings basically Netflix show you, that can be associated with this kind of a stimuli perspective, and there are several other things basically. So, now stimuli that are a part of brand's design and identity, packaging, communications and environments as well. So, a brand's identity, packaging, communication and environment. Brand experience is also related but conceptually distinct from other brand constructs. In particular, brand experience differs from evaluative, affective and associative constructs such as brand attitudes, brand involvement, brand attachment, customer delight and brand personality. You would realize that experience is a composite kind of a thing basically. It encompasses it all actually. For experiencing a brand, you have to have probably you have to have involvement, you have to have a behavioral perspective, you have to have an attitude, you have to have a delight many a times, not necessarily always, and you have to have a personality related connect also. Let us see how. Now, you see difference or differences between brand experience and other brand constructs, let us say in terms of attitude for example. So, attitudes are general evaluations based on beliefs or automatic affective reactions. For example, I like this brand, and you know that we have talked about attitude earlier as well. In contrast, or let us say the difference here is that brand experiences include specific sensations, feelings, cognitions and behavioral responses triggered by specific brand related stimuli. So, that is where brand experience is more specific, it is categorical. For example, experiences may include specific feelings, not just an overall liking. However, the overall attitude towards the experience captures only a small part of the entire brand experience. Then comes in brand experience also has a difference in terms of motivational and affective concepts such as involvement, brand attachment and customer delight. And how? Let us see. Now, involvement, to briefly define it for you, is based on needs, values and interests that motivate a customer towards an object. You get involved with the product or a brand here. Now, brand experience does not presume a motivational state. Experiences can happen when consumers do not show interest in or have a personal connection altogether. So, you need not to be involved with the brand to get an experience of the brand. Moreover, brands that consumers are highly involved with are not necessarily brands that evoke the strongest experiences basically. How? Simple example can be, for example, do you remember the name of the eraser you have been using often? Many a times you would, many a times you would not. So, but if I'll ask you to purchase an eraser right now, you would go and purchase the eraser probably by name. Now, that is where and it's a general parity, it's an example. You can have different descriptions associated with these kind of things. Further, in contrast to brand attachment, brand experience is not an emotional relationship concept. Over time, brand experiences may result in emotional bonds, but emotions are only one internal outcome of the situation that evokes experiences. Customer delight results from disconfirming, how it can be sort of thing, surprising consumption, and so on. In contrast to customer delight, brand experiences do not occur only after consumption, they occur whenever there is a direct or indirect interaction with the brand. Moreover, a brand experience does not need to be surprising, it can be both expected or unexpected as well. The point here is that these elements which we are referring to are not the necessary conditions for brand experience. They may develop brand experience, they may be supportive of brand experience, but not necessarily have to be present for an experience associated with brand. And this can be confirmed through several kinds of examples which we have been talking of in due course of time. And also when I deciphered the broader outlay of brand experience. So, in terms of customer experience or in terms of physical product and so on. Now, brand experience is distinct from brand association as well. One of the most studied constructs of brand associations is brand personality. Brand personality is based on inferential processes, that is, consumers are not sincere or excited about the brand, they merely project these traits into brands. In contrast, brand experiences are actual sensations, feelings, cognitions and behavioral responses. You have to have that perspective, you have to have that kind of a connect with the brand, and that is where the difference comes in. It is not just the difference in terminology, it is actually the difference in interpretation, it is the difference which can be marked through observation, through longitudinal studies, through understanding, through or let us say living with the brands. So, that is how you get to know that how experience comes in, which is more composite, it has to surround so many aspects, and on the other side the specific elements which we have seen, how different they are in terms of brand as far as brand experience goes. Now, let me take you to loyalty. Very interesting, very desirable thing basically as far as the brand manager goes. As I was telling you, loyalty in general is associated with so many things, but I have enumerated 2-3 things for you: commitment, faith, unconditionally being associated with something or someone, unconditionality should I say, and non-denial, non-deniability, that I accept but I do not deny as well, and many a times you say I deny. So, non-deniability, even if you do not accept, that is the perspective associated with as far as loyalty goes. I will not be taking you into whole lot of the psychological aspects of these elements, but loyalty just briefly can be seen with reference to, imagine that with whom you have been loyal to, with what you have been loyal to. Have you been loyal to your physical fitness, let us say? Have you been loyal to your health of your teeth, or those kind of things? So, these are the aspects you have been loyal to, and same can be traversed in terms of brand loyalty as well. Let us see, brand loyalty is a situation in which a consumer generally buys the same manufacturer originated product or service repeatedly over time, rather than buying from multiple suppliers within the category. You stick to something through someone. Now, it is the degree to which a consumer consistently purchases the same brand within a product class, And when I say class, we have talked about it. So, it is related to substitutable products basically. So, you sometimes feel tempted to go to substitutes. You would have done that also, you would have switched over for a while, but then you would have switched back and you would have stayed with as far as your own preferred product goes. It happens many a times in case of ice creams, it happens in case of chocolates, it happens in case of sweets, it happens in case of toothpaste, it happens in case of shaving creams, razors, pencils, pens, apparels, any even automotives, which you tend to use for 15, 20 years repeatedly basically. You become loyal to a particular kind of, I have seen customers who specifically prefer one kind of an automotive, one kind of a brand, that's all. You see, then there are types of brand loyalty. Although it is very generic in character, it is very fundamental, but still for kind of developing a deeper understanding, we find types of loyalties as far as categorized by several researchers and authors, and few of the researches we have referred to here. One is Back, KJ and Parks SC 2003, a brand loyalty model involving cognitive, affective and co-native brand loyalty and customer satisfaction, that is Journal of Hospitality and Tourism Research. So a research paper we found out, and we referred to that. There are several other researches as well, but just to give you a fundamental feel of that there are perspectives associated with observing brand loyalty. Although I repeat, it is generic in character, it is associated with commitment, faith and unconditionality. So, one is behavioral brand loyalty, and we are talking of brand loyalty, that is why we have to understand it with different kinds of angles. So, this can be defined as a customer's overt behavior toward a specific brand in terms of repeat purchasing patterns. Specifically, a repeat purchasing pattern can be determined as actual purchase frequency, the proportion of occasions in which a specific brand is purchased as compared to the total number of purchased brands or the actual amount of purchase. Then there is attitudinal brand loyalty. Now, this focuses not only on transactional strategies such as frequent user program and gifts for repeat customers, but also on attitudinal variables such as commitment and trust. Again, commitment comes to fore. As I said, it's difficult to differentiate loyalty in terms of types, but still researches are there which have done that successfully. So, now it can further be explained in terms of cognitive components, believing brand to be superior based on its attributes, affective components, pleasure fulfillments based on brand performance, and conative components, emotional attachment and brand specific commitment. Then there is a multi-dimensional aspect to as far as brand loyalty goes. Brand loyalty is not limited to situations where a behavioral response in terms of buying the brand is necessary to measure brand loyalty. Consumers may be brand loyal even though they may have never bought the brand on the product. I told you this in the beginning basically. So, that is interesting actually, but you can observe it in your own way by observing your association or loyalty to few of the brands basically. You would be thinking of those brands even if you are not thinking in terms of actually going for that. Now, even when brand loyalty is based on repetitive buying behavior, it is believed the consumer or the buyer may have no evaluative, cognitive or attitudinal structure underlying this brand loyalty, as the research says. However, it is often possible to observe emotive tendencies, affect, fear, respect, compliance, etc. concomitant with the behavioral brand loyalty. There are several textbooks which talk about these aspects. Along with the help of my team, often try to bring in some contemporary researches published in good journals for you as well, so as to give you a composite view of how to look at these aspects, because to be a practitioner one must remember that we must understand how researches are exemplifying or theorizing on several kinds of elements. So, brand loyalty can exist at the non-behavioral behavioral level, emotive or evaluative level. for those products or services which same consumers never buy. Brand loyalty needs to be distinguished in the mind of the consumer based upon the specific role he performs with respect to the brand. Different types of brand loyalty is believed to be prevailing for different consumers and for different product classes. In other words, the typology of brand loyalty is a function of product and consumer differences. So, this research has tried to put up this kind of a perspective in front of us. Now, you see, there are leading factors in keeping consumers loyal to brands worldwide as of February 2022. We have fetched this data from Statista, and it is slightly interesting. That is why I am showing you this slide. Now, here looking at the share of the respondents and looking at the factors, the leading factors because of which consumers stay loyal to brands. So it's interesting. The detailed report can also be found out, and the reference is given on this slide. So pricing, they say, is 62%, which is large actually, which is interesting, kind of. So are we a price driven loyal customer kind of group? So then customer service, which is again a very important element, 57%. Product service offerings, the offering in totality, 54%, which is quite logical. Convenience of purchase or use, which is very interesting actually, because in today's era, convenience has come up to be a very dominant factor. Earlier, people used to go to places to buy their favorite things basically. Today, they want everything on their doorsteps. Now, this is a huge technology enabled change which has come up in terms of developing brand loyalty, and mark this. So, this section is very important along with the price as far as this whole scenario goes. Then brand reputation, it's very obvious, and still but the percentage slightly is lower in terms of, if you will compare with the other factors, it is 34%. And you can go into the detailed report to understand why it would have been, and then you can go for further associative reports or let us say research papers to understand this. This is interesting. Now, then there is personalization and promotion, and which is 27%. It can be seen with a logical kind of a perspective here. So, you see, that is an interesting kind of a thing basically, because as brand managers we have to wonder how why customer would remain loyal to us, how customer would be kept loyal to us basically, what can be done, because the kind of marketing programs we are generating probably are similarly being generated by other competitors as well. And when we are talking of matured competition, when we are talking of strong competition, so similar kinds of approaches are there basically. They also have intelligent teams, they also have learned teams, they also have so much of AI and database with them. So there is an element to it. So many a times we have to wonder on the factors. Now there are some examples. If you like Jeep, Mustang or Tesla today, you are incredibly likely to like the brand tomorrow, according to newly released consumer data from IHS Markit. It's an agency. Markit has been tracking customer loyalty for over 2 decades, and Tesla has got 3 spots on 25th annual loyalty list. They have a huge loyalty base. Other brands that were named top loyalty winners include General Motors, GM, overall loyalty to the manufacturer, so that is a category. Ford, overall loyalty to the make of the product, that is again a category. And Lincoln, overall loyalty to the dealer actually. Now that is interesting. So but still they would have gone through a methodology to find it out, so that is again a category. Alfa Romeo was named the most improved loyalty to make, and Genesis won the highest conversion of conquests to loyalists. So that is again a scale and categories on which awards have been given or ratings have been done. You may go further into the details through the source mentioned here, and you would realize how brand loyalty is focused upon by brand managers, how they think of those. Now there are some more examples in terms of brand loyalty. Football clubs like Manchester United, Barcelona, Coca-Cola, Disney, Google, Domino's, Apple, Netflix, Patanjali in India has a huge brand loyal, huge base of brand loyal customers. And I'll leave you with this word loyalty, which is not only desirable, but if is gained by brands, then probably many things can be subsided as far as efforts go, and loyalty may drive the brand to an extent on its own basis by itself. I will be coming back to you with brand management continuum and reinforcement, revitalization and repositioning based discussion in my next session. That would be slightly more interesting as compared to whatever we have been going through, and this has always been my effort. Stay with me. Goodbye.